University to address the gathering, this virtual platform. Ma'am, welcome to speak.
Good evening, dear participants. I wish you all a cordial welcome to our one-week virtual faculty development program. Actually, I would like to express about my department and SR University, but my colleague Raghu sir has explained it in an extended way, so I am happy for that. So we are amazed, very amazed to see the tremendous response from the participants, and we are very happy that these many participants has trusted us. So we promise you that definitely we are going to fulfill the requirements of this FDP, and we are expecting that you will gain the outcomes and new learning experiences from this FDP. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Dear participants, Ritika ma'am, am I audible? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes,
You
sir,
are.
clearly. Go on, sir.
We will commence our FDP with an engaging session designed to stimulate thoughtful discussion by Dr. Spurti, Assistant Professor, NIT Warangal. Dear all, allow me to seize this moment to present her expertise to everyone. Dr. B. Spurti is an accomplished academic professional with a distinguished career in English language education. Currently serving as an assistant professor at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, National Institute of Technology, Warangal. She brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her role. Dr. B. Spurti holds a PhD in English language education from the prestigious English and Foreign Languages University. In short, we call it as IFLO, well known to everyone, in Hyderabad. Her doctoral research focused on enhancing language learning methodologies and practices. Prior to her academic career, Dr. Spurti gained valuable experience in the corporate sector as a learning and development manager, working with the renowned organizations such as IDP, Notice India Private Limited, Genpact, NIIT, and HSBC. She honed her skills in curriculum development, employee training, and performance improvement. Her expertise in managing training, soft skills development, coaching, and mentoring is well organized, is well recognized too. Since joining NIT Warangal in April 2018, Dr. Spurti has made significant contributions to the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. She teaches BTech and PhD courses, providing students with comprehensive understanding of English language education, research writing, and soft skills. Additionally, she has organized and coordinated 4 Atal FDPs, 5 international conferences and 1 national conference, 1 TechIP-funded workshop, 1 patent applied by Dr. Spurti. Dr. Spurti's research interests encompass several key areas in the field of English language education. She is currently involved in 2 funded projects such as Artificially Intelligent Virtual Lab for developing employability skills funded by the prestigious Indian Council for Social Science Research, in short ICSSR, and an institute-funded project called Virtual Lab for improving English communication skills. To her expertise, she has recently been nominated as an expert in the committee for the integration of virtual reality in vocational education and training in India by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, India. It is indeed an honor to welcome Dr. Spurti as one of the eminent resource persons for our faculty development program. We feel privileged to commence our FDP with her captivating lecture. Without further ado, I take a pleasure of inviting Dr. Spurti, Assistant Professor at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, National Institute of Technology, Warangal, to take the floor. Dear ma'am, we eagerly anticipate your insightful session. Welcome and please proceed with the session. Spurti ma'am, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, Raghu, sir, and I really thank you for that elaborate, introduction. Thank you, SR University, and all the organizers of the FDP, the coordinators, co-coordinators. I'll also take this opportunity to thank the head of the department, deans, and the director of the institute for taking up this initiative and then conducting an FDP, and I wish you all the luck for the program and all the future endeavors by the Department of English at SR University. Not wasting a lot of time, I quickly delve or jump into the session. Please let me know if you're able to see the screen. You should be able to see the title page. If anybody could please confirm if you're able to see the screen.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
And the presentation is starting, I guess. It'll take a minute to start.
Open up, yeah.
Starting.
Started screen. Yes, got it.
Visible now.
Fantastic. Thank you. So the title of the session is AI Tools for Academic Research. So when I was having a conversation with Raghu sir about the session, we're talking about who the participants are going to be and what we are going to look at. One element was definitely academic, interactions that we have with the students that we teach, which means our teaching and learning process. And the second thing that we wanted to look at was research. So while the title is academic research, we're going to look at primarily AI tools which are free and open source. I hope you're able to see the screen. Academic research is basically we're trying to identify facts to help a problem or a situation, and it is a systematic process. So we look at how we can use AI to help us go ahead with that systematic process. But then the first thing is we need to identify the situation or problem, and most of our problems come from our classrooms. I have a doubt. Can I stop camera, because I think it is taking a lot of bandwidth, if that's all right with you.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. And on the second slide, let me know if there is any, because there is a lag since it's getting live streamed, and there is a slight lag in. Okay. So very quickly, I wanted to inform all the participants. I request you all to try these tools while we are in the session today. It is 6:17 p.m. right now, and we'll try to wrap the session by 7:25. And if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat window, but I will not be able to see them right now and answer them. So probably the last 5-10 minutes of the session, we can put that aside for question and answers or any doubts. But it is imperative, it is important that all of you try these tools now, because it can get a little loaded and difficult towards the end if you're actually trying to make a note of these tools. It's a lot easy. Most of the tools that we're going to look at are free and open source AI tools, which both teachers, academicians, and researchers can use. And we are also going to look at the tools. Most of these tools can be used on tablets, on your mobile phones and computers. Better if you can use them on your computer, right? Because it's easier to navigate. So most of us must be having this question: should AI tools, or should I be worried about AI? Should I be worried about generative AI? Should teachers be scared of AI because it's going to take off our jobs? So today in this session, for the next 1 hour, we look at how we can use AI as a personal teaching assistant. Two things that we're going to look at. We're going to look at AI as a personal teaching assistant for for helping us in our day-to-day teaching. And we're also going to look at how AI can work as a personal research assistant to help us in, take care of our research. So this is the usual cycle, the teaching learning cycle. First, we upskill ourselves, we read if we have a session, right? So we upskill ourselves, we prepare for the class. And the second thing that we do is we prepare our lesson plans and our PPTs. And then we explain, we teach in the classroom, and then we test the KT that we've done. This is the usual teaching learning process that most of us follow, right? So for each of these steps, we're going to look at a tool. Can I get a number 1? Just type number 1 in the chat window if you're with me. Like this. Fantastic. Okay, great. So let us go ahead and look at a tool for each of these. So the first tool that I'm going to share is Elicit AI. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the entire screen. Okay, you should now be able to see the entire screen and my Google page. Can somebody please unmute and tell me if you're able to see it?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm typing Elicit AI. I request you to follow the first time, and then you can go ahead and try it. After every tool, we're going to get some time to go ahead and try those tools. Okay. This tool, Elicit AI, is useful for our literature review, since it is academic research. When we build our case, when we identify a problem, we'd want to look at what other researchers have done in the area, right? To identify the research gap. If it is already a solved issue, it is resolved, then we do not want to reinvent the wheel. So what else can we do? So we have to identify a gap in research, and also for classwork as well, we want to upskill ourselves. So one tool that can be absolutely useful is Elicit AI. For example, since my research is around employability skills, I want to see AI for employability skill development. Okay, this I type in the space there, and then it will go ahead and search for papers. Now you can say that Google also does that for me. Why should I go ahead and look for it here? What it does is it will summarize every paper, and it will also give you details of each paper separately. I'm sorry if I have gone back. See, this is the question I had asked. It'll give me all the details. Now, if I have a question, let's say I want to know more about this particular paper, right? I'd go and click on this. It will open. And then it will allow me to ask questions. And it will also tell me the workflow that I've been on. So these are the things that I've looked at in the past. This is the newer version. Now I can take you to the older version. I hope you're following me. Elicit AI has two versions, the new version and the old version. If you want information from the papers that you have saved on your computer, for example, we have this habit of saving a lot of papers on our computer. We can just go upload that paper from your computer, or you can drag or drop. So I'm trying to find a document with I request, unless you're actually unmuting yourself for a question, I request you to please go on mute. Then I click on upload PDF. Role of Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education and Empirical Study by Suvrat Jain. And then I go next. Without me having to read everything, it will tell me what the paper is all about, and it'll allow me to ask questions. For example, I have about I wanted to show you this as well. The plus feature is paid version. You don't have to go for the plus feature if you're looking at 4 to 5 papers. Now, this tool is absolutely useful if you're looking for developing a literature review and you're looking at 4 or 5 papers, or if you don't have as much. You can easily ask Elicit to find you papers in your area, and then it will summarize the content of a couple of papers that are available in your area and give it to you in one go. So one of the participants, can you please give me your area? You can unmute and tell me your area so that we can go and see if it is able to find papers and summarize the literature.
Ma'am, and soft skills, holistic development.
Soft skills,
Holistic development.
Okay. So let's see if he's able to find papers for us. See. It has summarized 4 papers for you. It will be the top 4 papers based on the number of citations. And you can say that ChatGPT also gives this to me. Why should I not go for ChatGPT? The problem with ChatGPT, we'll discuss that a little later, is that ChatGPT is extremely user-friendly. As in, to make you feel happy, it will create dummy references. There will be references that are not existent at all. They will just create them for you. But unlike ChatGPT, you will actually have links to the original paper when you use Elicit AI. So it is 6:27 right now. I request all the participants to go ahead and try this for the next 3 minutes while I'm right here for you. For the next 3 minutes, please go ahead and try using Elicit AI with your research topics or areas that you're interested in, or it can be a basic problem like how do I manage time management in ELT classroom, or anything. We'll look at another tool for literature review towards the second half of the session. But for now, I request you to go ahead and explore Elicit AI for the next 3 minutes. Now, the reason I'm asking you all to do it right now and not wait until later is because once you use it, you'd get a hang of it. Then you would not necessarily need anybody to help you with it. You're asked to buy a subscription. This is Harshita. For 2-3 papers, I don't think. I have a free version too, Harshita. It should not ask you. Unless you're actually loading a lot of papers onto Elicit and asking it to, summarize, let's say, 20 papers for you. Ideally, it should not, if it is just a couple of papers. And the cheat code is to create multiple accounts if need be. If you have an enterprise account, then it should not be a challenge. Just check with your institution that you're working with. If they have enterprise account, then it should not. Mohana, it should not ideally ask you. If you look at it, mine is a free account too. You should be able to see my screen. Mine is a free account too. I have not paid anything absolutely. It is still asking me to upgrade to Plus. Last 1 minute. It'll ask you to register for sure, because it actually saves your history. If you look at it, it will show you everything that I've looked at in the past couple of months. So it'll create a workflow history for you. So you might have to register, but definitely not pay for it. For a free, you have free version as well. And the new, like I told you, the new version is free, and it can give you up to 20 references. The older version had some restrictions though. Okay, so very quickly, I believe most of us tried using this. How far is it going to help us in understanding content which we want? I'll help you. I'll help you, Chiranjeevi. I'm coming to that question. Next. So it works now. Great, Harshita, great. So the next tool that I'm going to show you again is an AI tool, which will help us understand and explain the content better, which is the next step. You should be able to see my PPT now. Could somebody please type Y in the chat window if you're able to see the PPT? Great. So the next thing that we do is prepare for the class. I will, so the most important thing that we all indulge in, though it is a 1 hour class, we have to prepare for at least 2 hours. That's the minimum time that it takes for you to be well prepared for a class that you're teaching for the first time or the nth time, because each student is different, each class is different. The way you engage with the class and the content is different, right? So for beginners, for people who've done their CELTA training, you would understand how tedious lesson plans can get, right? So the next tool that I'm going to show you is called AutoClassmate. Now, how many of you have worked on your COPO mapping, your NBA accreditation, the paperwork and all of that? You can just type 5 in the chat window if you have done that. Course objective, yeah, it is extremely difficult, right? Bloom's taxonomy, mapping it to COPO, right? So this tool is going to help us. So the next tool that we're going to look at is AutoClassmate, okay? So AutoClassmate, nothing very fancy, again, a free and open source tool, but you'll have to log in. You have to create your account with your Google Mail, Gmail account. You can create one. You just need to go to the page, and then once you create your account, you need to click on create lesson. I think it will work without registering. If you look at it on the top right corner, are you able to follow me? Are you able to see AutoClassmate screen?
Ma'am.
Great, fantastic. Okay, so you just need to, it is not asking me to register yet. So if you want it to remember your data, then go ahead and register. Else, you can directly scroll down and go to create lesson plan. I request all of you to follow the instructions now so that we'll definitely have time to create lesson plans, right? So now, assuming I am teaching soft skills, I want to teach my students how important soft skills are. So I teach higher education students. So the level I've set, please let me know if you're able to see the screen. Right, I've set the level as higher education. Then I want to give it instructions. I would say, I want my students to understand the importance of life skills and help them develop the skills in a 60 minutes class. Okay, now it's very highly, extremely ambitious. I don't know if it will be able to give it to me or not, but I have to give them. I want them to follow Bloom's taxonomy for COs. Okay, then I'd say soft skills. We are not following anything, so I click on generate lesson plan. Oh, there was a mistake. Let's see if it'd be able to see delivering life skills in a higher education, right? Developing life skills in higher education students. Lesson objective, Bloom's taxonomy objectives as per Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, applying, and analyzing. It will divide the class into lead in or a warm-up activity, understanding life skills, lecture, and then it will give you another technique or a practice time, then an interactive activity with clear instructions, and finally a debrief or conclusion. Add on, it will give you assessment as well. And a follow-up activity that you can give to the class if it is a weekend class. It will tell you the lesson plan is designed to be completed within 60 minutes class. However, additional time may be allocated for specific sections based on pace and needs of the students. This took us less than 2 minutes. The only time that it took is for, probably for us to type. That's it. Once we typed, it gave us all everything together. The prompt is the important thing here. So it is 6:35 right now. Take 5 minutes for this lesson. But before then, can somebody else, would anybody else want to give your specific topic that we can try and create a lesson plan on? Anybody wants me to go ahead and type it for you, or would you like to go and try it yourself? This doesn't require any, there are a lot of, digital poetic devices, water technology. Oh my God, create lesson plan on writing skills. Okay, which one do I take? Okay, writing skills I just saw. So importance of, so let me see if I can edit a little. Writing skills. Help them develop the skills and follow the same thing. I'm not changing anything. I'm going to change the content area to academic writing, right? So you have to be specific, but then let's see if it is good enough to give us a lesson plan. If we give a vague plan, see, right there in front of you. So who is the one who gave me the writing skills? This thing, 1 minute. Let me quickly open the chat. Academic Praveen Kumar, yeah. So please try it yourself. It is 8:37 for this particular activity, because you'll have to, think of the area and find a particular lesson that you'd want to create a lesson plan for. Take 5 minutes, please. No problem. Mr. Suvarna Sunidasri and others who have typed in the chat window, please go ahead and try this yourself. Poetic devices, digital marketing, speaking skills for engineers. Please go ahead and try it yourself and let me know if you face any challenge. Lesson plan to teach phrasal verb. Please go ahead and type it. Deepthi Patil. While you are doing it, let me see if I'm able to find one. Phrasal verbs. And you can actually make it more better. In fact, you can call it experiential learning lesson, or you can, activity-based lesson, task-based lesson. Just give it the instruction, or PBL, project-based learning lesson plan, right? You can go ahead and add whatever you want to add, and it'll give you the lesson plan in seconds. Let's see, create a task-based lesson plan. Okay. This is grammar. Now this I'm doing for Ms. Deepthi Patil, who had asked me for phrasal verbs. See, right there. It'll also tell you what materials you would require. It'll break it down to, the 4 blocks, basically knowledge, introduction, knowledge, comprehension, and activity or application. Deepthi, I guess that would suffice, or if you want to try other options, like if you want to give them a project on phrasal verbs, please feel free. Use the tool, it is absolutely free. All the best. I've stopped sharing the screen. Please go ahead and try the application and tell me if it works fine for you. Or if you face any challenge, it should not ask you for a paid account, ideally. Great, I'm glad you're finding it useful. Thank you, you're welcome. Participants, I'm waiting on you. Please let me know. Due to internet issue, I have joined late. Can you please again tell the name of the tool? This is Elicit. The first one that we looked at is Elicit AI. And the second one that we are looking at right now is AutoClassmate. I'm typing it in the chat window as well. Elicit AI was the first tool, and AutoClassmate is the second tool. I don't know why it is not. There is internet issue, looks like. Okay. It is the camera that's taking a lot of bandwidth, so probably I'll go off camera again. Okay. It will be. I'm sure you'll totally love this tool. There are no bugs as such, but then please do remember to do a quick reading before you use it as such. It's quite useful. Could somebody please type 1 in the chat window again if we are good to go ahead with the next tool? Or I'm willing to wait. It's been 5 minutes already since we. Okay, great. I see a lot of ones. Fantastic. Let's go ahead then. Okay. We use Quillbot. No, I'm not going. I probably will show you Quillbot, but then we'll talk about the challenges with Quillbot. I will look at other tools as well apart from Quillbot. Sure. That was Ayodhya Jadhav. Okay. So again, sharing my screen and stopping my camera. Is it free? It is free. Dipti, it is free because you did not log in. You did not create any account at all. It is absolutely free. Will there be issues regarding plagiarism, ma'am? There will be. Basically, like Chomsky recently said in one of his interviews, he calls ChatGPT and the generative AI as high-tech plagiarism. So I quote him, it is high-tech plagiarism. Well, you'll have to be careful. That is what I said. You'll have to be very careful when we use plagiarism is nothing but content that is created by somebody else, and we are using it without acknowledging the creator of the content. Are you able to see my? Or you could either type in the chat window as well. ChatGPT is fantastic, but there are some challenges with ChatGPT.
It's visible, ma'am.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So the next tool that we're going to look at is, again, nothing fancy, but quite useful. It's called Teach Like I'm 5. Now, all of us are teachers. I'm sure we have students in our classes who are troublemakers, right? They want to, create trouble, or there are other people who are genuinely people who require additional support, right? These are the people usually coming from vernacular medium, or especially, I don't know if you have faced it. I want to ask this question, take time out from the session and ask you, do you see any difference in the way the current batch of students, especially the students who've studied 2-3 years at home during COVID time, and the ones before now? Or is it just in my head? Are they all the same, or do you think the quality has gone down because of those 2-3 years of gap? Right, I think there are differences. Yes, true. Great. I know, probably I'm not the only one then. Okay, so there are people who would need that extra time, but how much time do we have as teachers? There are plenty of questions, right? So the next tool that I'm going to introduce to you is Teach Like I'm 5. Okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay. So you should be able to see the tool as well. It reads as ELI5, right? When you go there, it's a very, what do you call, user-friendly. It is a little sarcastic. I'll tell you why. It's taking some time for my screen to load. Okay. So why did I say it is sarcastic? Now, one thing about this tool, 3 prompts or 3 tokens are free per day on this tool. After that, it will ask you to either create an account and use, so if you have to, all of us have more than one email ID for sure. So you can create an account and use 3 per day. And of course, we not need as many, but if you require to go back and, use more prompts or tokens, you can create another email ID and then do it for yourself, right? So why did I call it sarcastic? Because you'd see a sarcasm on and off button here. So if you're teaching your students, please keep the sarcasm off. If you're actually in a chai chat or a round table conversation with your folks, probably fellow teachers, you can probably keep the sarcasm on. Otherwise, I recommend you keep it off. So I've been showing you the areas that I'm interested or I'm working on. So I want you to give me one topic that I can explain using this tool. Please text the website name. I will, Yugandhar. This is teach or explain like M5. You can type anything that you want to explain. Like M5. Yeah, that's a tool. Mythology. No, give me a question. Give me a question that your students probably ask me to explain something. Can I explain something very difficult, something very, difficult to comprehend? Morphology, fantastic. Vocabulary in use. So Nidhi, I'll come to you, Praveen. I will look at nanotechnology. Pravalika. Okay, we'll look at that as well. So for now, what we look at is morphology or syntax or morphology. We started typing. We look at the others as well. Like I said, it has about 3 tokens, right? So you can set the level at which this explanation is supposed to be given. Pretty dumb is for learners who do not have any information about it at all. Dumb is basically you look at a 4-point scale where poor to average to good to excellent. So pretty dumb is poor, dumb is average. I'm not the one who created this. It can be belittling, I understand, but they have used these words. So basically, we're changing it to poor, average, dumb, and excellent, right? If we look at those 4 levels, I'm going to run the click. I said, explain morphology, and I say run prompt. Now, this is slightly time consuming. Usually, you should be able to see my screen. I'm closing the chat window. Morphology is, the beauty about this is that it will give you examples and verifiable facts. It will simplify. To help you understand morphology better, let us use an analogy. It will give you stories, analogies, which will, help you explain this better to your students. You can take these analogies to your classroom. Think of words as building blocks and morphemes as the individual pieces that make up those blocks. Now you can clearly get all of this. You can get from here to here, your Google will give you all this. But this is what makes the difference. If you are somebody who learned through stories, I am somebody who believes that human beings are storytelling human, beings. We've learned from stories, we've read stories, we've built our language. Recent study says that, if somebody wants to improve their language, fiction is the best way to, improve their vocabulary and, communication skills in that particular language, right? So stories, analogies actually help, and this will give those to you. Think of words as building blocks or morphemes as the individual pieces that make up those blocks. Just like different blocks can be combined to create various structures, different morphemes can be combined to create different words. Try this. It is a 6:50 right now. You can go ahead and try this in the next 5 to 8 minutes. I'm giving you 8 minutes here because you'll have to read a little bit. So again, remember, you'd have 3 tokens per day, and beyond that, if you have to use it, please go ahead and create another account with another email ID. But I don't think you will need more than 3 tokens per day, because I've been using this tool for the last couple of months, and then I have not exhausted my tokens, unless if it was for a session like this where multiple people asked multiple, asked me to look for information. Yes, Praveen, authentic information in brief. How these tokens will work. So I have asked for one explanation. So if I've run the prompt once, then the tokens, 1 token would be gone. So because I've used it for morphology, I'm only left with 2 tokens now. Yeah. Oh my God. Now I just clicked on run prompt again accidentally. It is giving me the same information, but then I lost the token. So please be careful. You have 3 tokens per day. 3 tokens are free, basically. Now, if you totally love the tool and if you're somebody who's going to use it extensively, please go ahead and get the license. No problem. You can also sign up for a 7-day trial. Three tokens per day, yes. Okay, I'm waiting for all of you to try this. It is 652 paid license. How will I know, Praveen? You'll have to explore that yourself based on the usage. So all that information will be there on on the top right corner. You'd see pricing. You'd have to go click here. So I'm not here to show, market any tools at all. We're only looking at tools that are free and open source. So up to 3 tokens, free and open source. I've used them, therefore I'm sharing them with you. But if you have to look at the pricing and costing and all of that, I request you to please explore the tools yourself and find information. I may not be able to vouch for these. I'm sorry. Josna, you tried it, you're liking it? Great, fantastic. It does. It does. You can verify that with any other tool. It does. I tried it, Sharda. It gives authentic information. But end of the day, generative AI is picking that information from somewhere on the web. Nana Malhotra is liking it. Glad you found it useful. Nidhi also likes it. Great, great. Nidhi, just be careful. 3 tools, basically, they go by, I think this is working as per US timing. So 24 hours for them is 24, not our 24 hours. So probably you'll have to wait until tomorrow afternoon if you exhaust all 3 tokens. Sharda liked it too. Great. We can search only topics of literature review related also. Don't use this for literature review related topics. I missed that. 1 minute. Who asked me that question? Give me 1 minute. I'm scrolling up to find out. I forgot the name of the person who asked me that question. I'm not able to trace that back because I'm getting these messages continuously. Don't use this tool for literature review because I'm going to show you another tool. We looked at Elicit AI already. I'm going to show you another tool the second half of the session, like I'd already mentioned. So this tool is useful for our classroom delivery. So you have a lesson plan and then you want to take an analogy or you have to, make it engaging for the students. Go ahead and look up for it. Your students can come up with questions that are extreme. So you might want to use this tool for that. Correct. Subject aspect. Yes, Praveen. Will AI tools find research articles which are published offline? Published unless no. It has to be uploaded somewhere. How will it find a research article offline? If somebody has quoted them, then probably it will show you some kind of citation or reference. But if you want to find the article as such, no, it definitely, unless it is uploaded, it will not find it. We have another 3 minutes. I'll wait for your confirmation before we can go ahead to the next one. In the meantime, I'm looking at some questions that I can answer. I tried it and I tried it, great and very unsuccessful. Mahek, Sheikh, what was the challenge, if I can ask you? Just mention that you were unsuccessful. Anything that I can help you with there? Sarah says, don't you think, ma'am, students will also be able to use? Absolutely, let them use it. And in fact, students should use it. You know, earlier we never had anything like Google. Now everything is to Google is the holy place of all answers. They're going to use it anyway. In a couple of years from now, AI is going to be a part of our life. So there's nothing to shy away from AI. There's nothing to be worried about AI. It's going to be a part and parcel of our lives. Let them go ahead and use it. Encourage them to use it. It's a very informative tool, gives us a wide scope in looking out for information. Okay, thank you. There are a couple of more messages. Ma'am, is there a way that we can remove plagiarism, ma'am, and make it human-generated content? Basically, yes. Use that as reading material only and create your own content, as simple as that. Don't take it as is. You know, if you want to use it as reading material, I think one of the citation index, I think there is a session during the FTP, which is looking at H-index and various, types of formatting. I think MLA now has option to quote generative AI. I'm not too sure though, but then you can ask the faculty member or the guest speaker. As far as I know, because I guide research, and I have right now I have 8 research scholars working with me at NIT Warangal, and I get to know if they have used generative AI for creating or writing their chapters. So if I allow them to go ahead and use it. However, they'll have to acknowledge it. So MLA, I think there is. IEEE, I believe there is an option to quote generative AI, but you need to get clarity on that with the faculty member who's actually handling the session, please. Ma'am, could you please give another site for literature apart from it? Hanisha, sure, I will. It's on the slide. Can I use it for writing exercises, madam? Please go ahead. Please go ahead and feel free to use AutoClassmate or any of these tools for whatever you'd want to use it for. Seems it follows same format. It uses same 4-paragraph style to answer my both questions. Yet it uses, the format is the same. It starts off with the definition. It gives you examples. It gives you an analogy, and then it tells a conclusion. Okay. So if it is 6:58, we started at 6:50. Is it okay if we move on to the next tool? Great, you have the drill already. So I see number 1 already. So you know that we have to use number 1 to move on. Fantastic. Okay, so the next tool that so you should be able to see my PowerPoint slide now. This is again another free and open source tool for generating tests. So this is one area where most of us are, not stuck, I would say, but then most of our time goes into creating test papers, because it's the same content we teach every year, but we do not want to give the same questions to the students, because our students are smart enough to reach out to their seniors and then get the papers. So the tool that I'm introducing to you, there are plenty of other tools, but for paucity of time, and because I have about half an hour only left with me right now, so let's look at QuizGecko. Okay, please let me know if you're able to see my Google screen. Why in the chat window will suffice. Fantastic. Okay, so the next one that we're looking at is QuizGecko. Again, this is an AI tool that will help us create tests. Simple. All you need to do is you need to have content that you can use. So for example, we've looked at this content, right? So this was created as per one of our participants' requests on phrasal verbs. Now this is AutoClassmate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the entire content, or a little, basically there is a word limit. So I'm going to copy this from here, and then I'll click on create. I'll go to QuizGecko and create. So there are options. Now the free account, you can type up to 25,000 characters, right? So I copied it from there and I pasted it here. Or you can give a topic, but it is not a free version, right? If you install a web page or a YouTube video, you can do that and connect. Or with a paid version, you can upload your own entire textbooks. For example, if you have a manual, or if you have a textbook, or if you have a syllabus book, if you have an entire lab workbook, you can upload the entire thing. But I'm going to show you the free version here, okay? So, no, I think I'm not going to do that because some of you wanted to use ChatGPT as well, right? So let's, now that we are at it, let's go to ChatGPT as well. So I'm going to ChatGPT. I hope you're able to follow me. Okay, then I'm going to ask it to give me some reading material of 25,000 words is the limit, right? On phrasal verbs for BTech students. Oh, this is giving me the wrong prompt. See. So it's giving me websites. It's not giving me Duolingo, Memrise. It is giving me a website. But what do I do if I want content, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm copying this like I did. And then you can change the options here. You can go for multiple choice questions, true or false questions, short answer types, fill in the blanks. Matching is not available for a free version. So for this, I think I will go for a multiple choice questions and then make it medium difficulty and I click on generate. I request the participants to go off camera because it's taking a lot of bandwidth. Usually Zoom takes a lot of bandwidth compared to Google Meet. Now this is a little time consuming because it has to read the information that I picked some random stuff from AutoClassmate. So if you have specific reading material, if you have a textbook, you want to copy it from there, please go ahead and do it and paste it and then it will create the questions for you. Like I said, it is time consuming though. It all depends on the network as well. It's not as time consuming. Doesn't take this long usually. Let's see. I'd like to blame it on the network. While this is creating the questions, would you like to, parallelly make use of the time that we have? It is 7:04 p.m. You can go ahead and try it, please. Just go to Quiz.echo and click on create quiz and then enter the text that you have and then ask to create questions. Let's see. Let me see if it is finding it difficult because of this. Let me morphology. Somebody gave me morphology, right? So I'm going to copy morphology. Go to Wikipedia. Still creating. Okay. I went to Wikipedia, copied morphology. Okay. And then I came here. No, it's not allowing me to. I request you to please go ahead and try it because it could be network. Can somebody please tell me if you're able to hear me? Because I see this thing going round and round, so I doubt if it is.
I'm audible, no issue.
I'm sorry, I did not get you. Are you able to hear me well?
Your voice is audible, there's no issue.
Fantastic. Okay, see, it has generated. Basically, I have to refresh it. Okay, see, it has generated Now, the problem with this is it will only create 5 questions for free. You can go ahead and try it multiple times, no problem. You can absolutely create this, select 25,000 words at a time and create multiple questions like MCQs or, fill in the blanks or short answer types. You can go and try it multiple times. You can use it as many times. There is no limit on the number of times you use it per day. But it will only generate, with a free account, it will only generate 5 questions. The beauty about this is you have the share button. You can go ahead and absolutely copy, paste it and share it, or copy this link. It is like if you know how to play Kahoot, or if you have worked on SurveyMonkey, or if you tried other tools like these, you'd understand how the share thing works here. So you can go to share link, or you can share an embedded link, or you can go ahead and assign. But then assign again is a paid facility. Again, if you're asking me how much would the paid version cost, I wouldn't know. What I do instead is when I have to create, that. So I'm going to reveal this to you. So when Raghu had asked me to create questions, this is the tool I have used to create the questions for your assignment. So it's absolutely useful. You can just quick given the network. So it wouldn't usually take as long as it took me today because of network issue. Probably it has taken as long. So it is 9:07 right now. So please try the tool and let me know. 3 minutes is what we have, please. We'll have to move on to the next tool. Therefore, I request you to come back in 3 minutes. And I have the chat window open just to see Quizkiko basically for creating quizzes. Absolutely. Not only quizzes as such, you can create you can make an entire question paper using it. Yeah, you can change that. You can go for MCQs. You have an option there to change the format of the question. It can be fill in the blanks. It can be multiple choice questions. It can be short answer type questions. You have that option there. I'm glad you're finding it interesting. Taking a long time. I know it is taking a long time because you are already on Zoom. Like I said, your network, most of the bandwidth is going to be used up by Zoom, because Zoom and WebEx are data hungry. They use a lot of data. So when you are on Zoom calls or WebEx calls, and there used to be GoToMeeting, that was data starving. It would use up all the data that you can't even open Google on your desktop. It's that bad. So please try using this after you're done with your Google Meet, after the session maybe, or tomorrow. So I'm going to look at the questions now very quickly, taking a long time, like I said, because Zoom is taking most of your data. What will happen if we have prescribed textbook? You should have a PDF version of it, copy paste it, or upload the entire file. Second, can you tell any paraphrasing tools using AI? Prema, given the time that I have of 1 hour, I would love to share a lot, because there is an entire session that I take usually on research alone. I will definitely be able to share that with you if you could write to me, but not in today's session, because I know another speaker has a session at 7:30, and it is too bad with me if I eat into their time. So I will try and share as much as I can in this session, and probably we'll look at other things later sometime. Does it create questionnaires for research surveys? Ma'am, no, you don't have to use this for research surveys, Harshita. There is another tool that you can use, but not this. This is basically for your classroom teaching and classroom evaluation. It gets easier because you have this COPO mapping, and then you have to map your question to your CO. So that helps. Okay, there is a message from Ravar Prithvi. This is Manisha Rana. This is for the admin, I believe. Learning purposes, of course. It is possible for sharing your, of course, I'm going to share the entire PPT with the admin. I'll share it with Raghu sir. Raghu sir, I request you to share it with the participants. Please feel free. I will. Can we now move on to the next tool? Okay, all right. I see ones and yes. Okay, fantastic. There was a question that I missed. It will be very difficult to keep track of it if I miss it now. It is very advanced and worrying that AI is going to replace human intelligence and all, and not at all. Absolutely. That is what I started the session with. It will not replace anything. It is going to, we are going to use AI as our personal assistant, our teaching assistant in our classrooms, and our research assistant in our research. So with that, I will get into the second part of the session, which is using AI as our personal research assistant. Just imagine having a super intelligent research assistant available 24/7 during doing the work for you in jiffy and not getting paid at all for it. Absolutely free. That is what we are going to, make use of, and how we are going to make use of AI, right? So as AI helped us in classroom delivery and in testing and all that, in preparation and lesson plan development, AI is going to also help us in research. Now, there's a difference between one basic thing that I usually teach all my research scholars, and I'd recommend all of you also do, is understand the difference between search and research. If something is readily available, if you're able to find the answer to it by simply typing a code or a prompt, it is searching. Basically, if you want to know where Ramappa temple is, or what's the most popular temple in Warangal, you just go type it in on Google or anywhere, and you know which one is the most popular place. Or if you'd want to know how many people visit Ramappa temple in a month, you go ahead and type it. That is basic search. Research is how many people visited Ramappa temple and this 1,000-pillar temple in Warangal. How many people preferred visiting Ramappa temple now after it was declared the heritage site. So if you're not able to find answer to a question readily, then you'll have to indulge in research, and research cannot be plagiarism. It is your search. You're going to find it yourself. You can use technology, use AI if you wish to, right? However, it has to be your research question. You need to identify the gap. You need to formulate the hypothesis, test the hypothesis, use your tools, pilot your tools, and triangulation. All these processes, I'm sure you all are aware of. So validity, reliability, you just test all of that, and that is good research, right? The problem with most of us is, instead of focusing on all of those, we will focus on literature review, and most of the writing that you do, and most of the dependency in writing on AI comes only during the literature review stage. And ChatGPT is one big troublemaker, because ChatGPT will find you articles that were never written. They will, ChatGPT doesn't, if it is not able to find an article, let's say, just to make you happy, it will give you a dummy article. Right? So instead of ChatGPT, are there any tools that we can use? To answer the question that one of our participants had asked me, on another tool that we can use for lit review, that is Humata. Okay, you should be able to see the screen. Again, I'm going to the holy place of all answers, Google, and then I'm going to type Humata. Humata is another AI tool that will help me. It is generative AI, which will help me find articles and find answers to my articles. Okay. So I'm going to click on try it for free for now. My internet is extremely slow today. I'm sorry about this. Humata is like, it is asking me for my username and password. Just hope it doesn't show my password suddenly. Why is it asking me to create my account? I'm sorry about this. It logged me out for some reason. Okay, no problem. Let's go back. I'm going to try it for free. It doesn't like my username and password. Okay. Why? I really don't know why it is not helping me log in at all. Give me 1 minute, please. I have to stop sharing the screen. I request you all to try it once while I'm away from the share screen. It's working, ma'am? Okay. I'm trying to, check my password while I'm typing it. Basically, probably I'm typing the wrong password. So this is the beauty about technology. Technology doesn't like, or probably doesn't want humanities folks to use it as much. So I am trying to reset my password. Check your email. Okay, I received the password. 1 minute, please. Sharing the screen again. Okay, finally accept. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, I got logged out. Are you able to see my screen now? Yes, ma'am. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So this is the Humata site that I'm referring to. Beauty about Humata is similar to that of Elicit AI. However, you can upload as many documents as you want. One of the other areas that I'm working on right now is SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. You can click. The beauty about Humata is Humata will answer your questions from PDF. So it's like Chat PDF. Chat PDF is another tool that also does this for you. You can ask any question. For example, on this document that I have selected, I'm going to go here and click on, it gives me summary, of course, and I want to say, what is SDG 4? Oh, sorry. And then it gives me the answer, and it also highlights the response on the right side. See, SDG 4 aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality, and it has highlighted the response on the right side. Wherever it is relevant, it will. You can ask any question to your document. It will find. You don't want to, let's say you don't want to use your own documents. You just want to ask, you want to upload an entire folder from your computer and ask a question to all, right? So you can just click on ask all and it will select all the documents that you have uploaded, the entire folder. Most of us as teachers have this habit of, saving a lot of papers on our desktop, calling it research file, right? Go ahead and upload your entire research file and ask, Humata to find answers for you. Not only that, the beauty about Humata is it will take all these formats. It will take PDF, it will take doc, it will take PPT as well. So any file that you have saved on your computer, go ahead, upload and simply click on that document once you're done. Or, this is an entire book. One of my students is working on melancholia. So that's an entire book. So I just go and click here, ask my question, and it will find the answer for me. It'll give me questions that I can probably ask for beginners. If you'd want to, understand how to ask these questions or get a hang of it, it'll do that as well, right? So that's Humata for you. So please go ahead and try it for free or create your account. It's absolutely free. There's no pricing involved for basic search and for limited uploads. For me, limited upload is 20 and more because I tried uploading the entire file. It is 7:22 and I have exactly 3 minutes for you to please try this. And then we will end the session because I know another presenter is waiting. Quillbot is something that I wanted to share with you, but I would not be. Most of you know Quillbot already. This is a paraphrasing tool. One of the participants had asked me for this. Quillbot is another tool that you can use for paraphrasing. Just in case you'd want me to show you how Quillbot works, I can do that. Please let me know if you'd want me to show you Quillbot as well. Because Quillbot is a pretty popular tool. Yes? Okay, sure. Okay, sure. No problem. I'll definitely do that. So Quillbot for you, given the little time we have, is just go to Google again and type Quillbot. 7:23. Okay. So the initial discussion when I had with SR University about the session, it was for 2 hours, 120 or 100 minutes long session. So I had to shorten it and remove a couple of tools because we had to shorten the session. So nonetheless, no problem. I'll send you the entire PPT. I'm sure it will be useful for you. So what I'm doing is I copy pasted the text I copied on morphology from Wikipedia. And then I clicked on paraphrase. It'll go ahead and paraphrase on the right side. And it'll tell you where all it paraphrased, what changes it made. So that's Quillbot for you. So it has changed. So it is looking at 10 sentences and 114 words. So you can just copy paste your text from wherever you have, and then you can click on paraphrase. You can go ahead and do that. The paid version you can increase the synonyms, antonyms based on if you have a paid version. It has multiple languages. You can go to standard, fluency, formal, as and when you upgrade to premium version. So that brings us to the end of the session. It was a little hushed up towards the end, I understand, thanks to Humata and the trouble it gave me because of the login issues. But I hope you found it useful. As promised, the last 5 minutes for your questions, your thoughts. I'm all here, all yours, right here. You can unmute or you can post your question in the chat window. Ma'am, is Quillbot for modifying language or content cause plagiarism? Because nowadays AI diction is plagiarism. Yeah, you can change it for language, structure, word choice. You can go ahead and do it. But end of the day, these are facilitators. You cannot bank on them completely. Use it as a facilitator only. use it as an assistant. Therefore, we call them AI assistants for teaching, AI assistants for research. So please do not bank on them completely. Santoshi Bhavani says, knowledgeable session. Thank you so much. My pleasure. I'm glad you found it useful. I'm glad your 1 hour was worthwhile. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the feedback. Any tools for PPT? Yes, there is an absolutely beautiful AI tool for PPT. This is, you have to install it on Google, basically. It is a plugin. It is an extension that you'll have to install on your Gmail, and it can work. It is basically, what is that called? I'm not able to recollect it, but there is one tool. Please write to me. I'll be glad to share the information. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, I'm more worried about Dr. Karthika's session. We have 4 minutes before our session begins. Therefore, I'm a little caught up on time, but I'll definitely share the details with you. Please write to me. That's the email ID and my phone number. You can get in touch with me and definitely share the information. I'd love to. The gist of, I'm sorry, I don't have your name. I see you as 1+DN2101. We looked at a couple of tools. We looked at Elicit AI. We looked at Auto Classmate. We looked at Humata. We looked at a couple of other tools which help us in our day-to-day work. Great. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. I hope it was useful. I hope all of you tried these tools. Please take out time after your session to try them, and I'm sure you will find it useful and worthwhile.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very enriching, enlightening, and interactive session. I'm pretty sure everybody enjoyed and learned a lot from you. I take this chance to thank you on behalf of the management of our university, our Vice Chancellor, Sir, Chancellor, Dean, Head, all faculty and teaching and non-teaching staff, and may I also include students from our end. It was a very enlightening session, I must say. Thank you for being very kind to our participants and bearing with the network glitches as well, ma'am. We are very, very thankful to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I wish all the participants and the entire coordinating team the best, and I'm sure you will take it to the next level.
Can we please request you to stay here for a minute so that we can take a picture with you? How can we let this moment go?
Thank you. Sure, most definitely.
I also request all the participants to make them available on the video for a picture if possible. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for cooperating. Thank you so much.
Dr. Spurti ma'am, thank you very much for accepting our request, actually.
Pleasure. Thank you for roping me in. Pleasure as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for being with us, ma'am.
Hi, Spurti. Can you hear me?
Hi, thank you, Karthika. I was worried that I barge into your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Fantastic audience, great organization. You're going to have a great time.
Right. Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Yeah. So I guess we are learning happily here, and to moderate the next session, may I invite Dr. P. Teja, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, SR University, to moderate the session. Teja ma'am, are you there?
Yes. Am I audible and visible?
You are audible, ma'am.
Not visible?
Not as of now, I guess. Yes, you are now. Yeah. So what, Dr. P. Teja?
All right. I take the pride and privilege to invite or read the profile of our fellow Ifluite, Dr. V.K. Karthika. She is an assistant professor of English in Department of Humanities and Social Sciences of National Institute of Technology. Her previous work experience includes Little London Community Centre, Leeds, England, Word of Grace Community Centre, Leeds, England, assistant professor at MIT Madanampalli, and National Institute of Technology, Trichy. Her research interests are second language acquisition, second language learning strategies, multilingual education, continuing professional development, cultural studies, English medium instruction, aviation, English, soft skills and employability skills, critical pedagogy, sustainable development goals, peace education, translation and translation studies. Ma'am has been a resource person for about around 79 talks, and she presented 35 papers. She attended 11 national and international conferences. So because of the time constraint, I'm not able to read all of them, but I now welcome Dr. V.K. Karthika. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
And visible, I hope. Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time to make this adjustment because, I couldn't address you on any other day, just this slot, this day. And thank you, Dr. Raghu, for having me invited over here. I can see a good number of participants here. Some of them are friends and students. So really glad to be here. So we don't have a lot of time. So let me just share the screen and begin the session. So I think I have joined as a participant and my screen sharing is disabled. So could somebody please, the admin, please enable the screen sharing so that I can start the presentation. And thank you, all those 66 participants, whoever of you who have filled up the Google form that I have floated. Very insightful. Many of them I expected. Some of them were new to me. So I have prepared this talk around those things that you have given me. So could you please enable the screen sharing so that I can share the screen?
Ma'am, you can share it actually. We made it as a co-host.
No, I still get host disabled participant screen sharing. Should I rejoin? I can do that.
It as a co-host. After that,
yeah, I think now it is. Yes, now perfect. Yes, yeah. I'm getting it. Thank you so much. Hope you are able to see the screen. Now it should be full screen. Is it not? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you so much. Yes. Right. I really wanted to make it an interactive session, but because of the time constraints and the kind of demands that I could see in the Google form, I thought I will rather speak and maybe you can write to me or maybe we can have a discussion sometime later. So titled as Research and Publishing Questions of Ethics and Efficacy, I had to make a lot of changes to this title, thanks to the feedback or the suggestions that you people have given to me in the Google form. So here is the data, just a glimpse of the data that I got from you. Only 66 people answered when I froze this. So you can see the statistics here. There are quite a few people who are familiar with Scopus, UGC CARE, and look at the predatory publication. I thought that you would say no, but then yes, 10 of you who have responded had been victims of predatory publications and then pay and publish kind of a trend also. So let's, I thought that, I'll address a few questions that you people have raised with the insights that I got from this data as well. So how to identify if, these are your statements, okay, not mine. How to identify if a journal is predatory or not. How important is it to publish in a UGC CARE list or Scopus journals? I'm not going to show you all the 65 responses. The most recurring ones and the most significant ones. Some of them were really like very casual kind of ones. Are there journals where you can publish without paying? If so, where can we get a list of those journals? How write an article to publish in best journal without rejection? here I have something to tell you. How to be able to increase my citation score and H index, how to publish in Scopus for PhD, and how to identify which is Scopus, which is the Scopus journal. I mean, basically, my talk will be around this, and some people have clearly asked to give some insights about writing an article. So I will touch upon that, and then we'll have some discussion on the ethics in relation with the predatory journals and paying and publishing kind of a tendency. So this is my plan. Why do we publish our research? And how do we write research articles? And where should we publish? I think by this, we will be able to just tailor make all those ethical questions into this thing, this framework. Let's see how it goes. So why do we publish our research? I really wanted to make it interactive, but as I said, no time. So let me just answer. Well, the most known answer is disseminate knowledge. So when we have some new ideas, we want to let the world know, give out a shout. So we publish. Yes, we do that. Robust body of published work helps us in advancing our career, because you know that you have pressure of publication. You have to publish these many papers within this particular academic year or calendar year, then the performance appraisal, etc., etc. If you want to just go about it. Promotions, yes, you need to have certain points. Whether you are in a university or you are in an institute like mine, you will have to meet this minimum criteria of having these points. So, papers carry points. 4 points for a single authored paper and 2 points if it is shared between 2 people. So there are several metrics like that. So we need this published body not only to just get fame and recognition, but also for fortune. Yes. Now, publishing helps establish you as an expert in your field of knowledge, definitely. That we know that how after a point of time, you or I stop to exist as names, but we will be known for the work that we do. I mean, I dream of a day like that. Not yet there, striving, trying. So each of us will try, we have to leave a legacy, an academic legacy behind us when we venture on this pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, whatsoever. So publishing actually helps, you will be known. How do we know Shashi Tharoor? I know he's a politician, I know his background, but the books that he writes, and there are several people who actually project themselves as the books that they have written. They say that I don't matter other ways. It's just the work, the body of work that I have written that matters. So yes, these are the 3 major reasons why we publish. If you have any other reasons, you should really think about its, ethics. And if it is completely ethical, you think you can go ahead and add that to this list. But as of now, let's just work with these 3 things, assuming that we want recognition, we want promotion in terms of monetary benefits in that sense, and also to let the world know what we think, what we have as something new to share. So these are the 3 things that I would focus on. And there are certain small gains, This is very interesting. You won't learn to write. That is why I said I have something to comment on that question that somebody has asked about without rejection, which is kind of a utopia. You don't, until and unless you get rejected multiple times, it's very difficult. You won't learn the art of academic writing. It's not creative writing. People cannot just say that, your poem is wrong or your novel is a misplaced kind of thing. Nobody can actually blame you so much. I can hear some crows talk. Dr. P. Durga, could you please mute? Yeah. Thank you. So, where was I? Yeah. Without rejection, getting published is a dream. It's a myth. It is not possible. It doesn't make you great if you get accepted in the first place itself, because that is when you should really start worrying about where you have sent your paper, because good journals will not accept it without conditions. Okay, so that question is very important, because it only one person or two people have asked that, but then it rings in the minds of everyone, you know, how to go about it without rejection. That's not possible. The other day I heard from someone who's very established in the field that after 4 years and several rejections, one paper got accepted. But that kind of journals, you know, it's a dream for all of us, but then still. Yeah, so peer reviews and feedback enhance the research writing skill, because it is a different type of skill that you need for publishing in academic journals. And self-interrogation of the validity and reliability of the research in comparison with others. This is something that every researcher has to do, because we shouldn't be very sure about what we write, you know. I write 13, 14 drafts. I tell my students that, you know, until and unless it is like 13th or 14th draft, I don't even show it to someone. So it is a very meticulous, hard, kind of procedure that we go through when we write. And it's not an easy piece of cake, not at all. And discoverability. Yes, as I said, the fame, you know, there are several people, how nice it is to just wake up to get an email that, you know, somebody has read your work, or somebody is asking for your work. Someone as far as in some other European country asked for your work, you know, can I access this? So when we get that kind of question, the kind of pride that we have, the kind of satisfaction that we get, yes, and we are being discovered by others, which is really nice. And now help others to learn. Obviously, it's again an ethical part that we all have to be really focused on, because it's not for our own narcissist kind of pleasure that we write and publish, but it's also to help others to learn. So from our own research, our own literature review, there are think about a journal article that you're reading. If you go through the references segment, you will learn quite a lot, you know, that will be just like a treasure mine. And then from there, the next, set of references you get. So it's like a chain process. It's like a continuing kind of process, and there'll be butterfly effect for everything in a positive sense. Yes. So we help others to learn by publishing, and help other researchers to advance their work that we do. Because it's not, when somebody reads my work, I won't be just writing all whims and fancies that I have. But if it is academic piece of writing, I'll be looking at certain theorists, certain people who have written in the area, identifying a research gap. So that rigorous kind of process, which is visible through the methodology segment, through the literature review segment, through the discussion segment, the others are able to learn. So we need to read a lot if we want to write something. And how do we write research article? The largest segment of this talk will go on to this. Then I'll tell you about the journals and the venues where we have to publish. So conceiving an idea is very important. How do I help you in conceiving an idea? Just think about it. It's very difficult, right? You can't inculcate a thought in the other person's mind. So what we have to do is to read a lot and listen to the lectures by several people. See, if I want to talk about or write about Stephen Krashen or somebody else, I have to know what they have said, and I have to know what others have said about them. So we need to read a lot, and reading helps you to rationalize certain things, question certain things, and then these questioning and these kind of rationalizing help you indeed to conceive an idea, to generate an idea. And then you have to conceptualize it. It just occurs, you know, but that's not sufficient. You need to conceptualize it. You need to contextualize it. How are you going to work around that particular theme or that particular topic, and which angle are you going to look at? See, I don't work a lot with literature. I work more with cultural products, so like films or art. These are my areas of interest generally. It doesn't mean that I don't read books, but I don't analyze books as much as I analyze films or other medium. So when I watch a film, and when something of that film it just occurred to me that this is a great idea. It's very, very curious how the portrayal of environment is happening in this film, for example. And then I have to contextualize it. So an idea, yes, an eco-critical reading of this film is possible. Now, how do I conceptualize the data? I need to look at which angle should I look at it from, or through which lens should I see it from? Is it blue humanities that I'm going to look at, or hydrofeminism to be very specific, or is it the eco-gothic that I'm going to deal with? I need to identify various areas. And I need to look at various theories. So it doesn't mean that it's my original idea. So here it goes. No, you need to know whether somebody else has talked about such ideas, and somebody has written about such an idea about that film being the context. There are several things that you need to figure out. So a wide kind of literature review is required. Then you have to write it down, redraft, review, edit, proofread. There are several stages. I'm not going to take you through all those stages, which are very familiar to you, thinking about the time span that we have got. I'll be happy to answer questions if you have any at the end of it. So the anatomy of a proper research article. Don't think that this is actually the structure of a scientific article, or this is only for ELG. I know that there are some people who are outside the realm of literature, cultural studies, and language here, like very interesting fields. I've read 3 or 4 from the 66 responses that I've got. So now if you look at it, you can see that humanities as a field moves towards being more objective and more scientific when it retains the value of subjectivity in quotes, that's being subjective, not subjectivity, but being subjective. So when we talk about emotions, empathy, affect, and everything else, and when we go in a very subjective manner, we are not going away or drifting away from the scientific temperament that we have in analyzing the data. So that is precisely what makes an opinion different from an argument. When you're making an opinion, it's a very personal thing. If you have to make an argument, it still can be personal, but you have to have some points to substantiate your view. So these points for substantiation, these ideas for substantiation, these are all coming through you through several readings that you do, several experiences that you have, and theorizing such experiences and theorizing such readings. So look at the steps: introduction, and then you move on to what is unknown, and then how and why we should fill this gap. So you read the literature and you identify certain gaps in the literature, and you just try to come up with a method in which you can conduct a study or analyze a text. And then you focus on your findings. This is how I think this works. Or this is how I think this film portrays an eco-critical angle, or whatsoever for that matter. And discussion, where you have a lot of analysis. I'll be explaining all those things step by step. And then finally, conclusion. This is a pattern that should be there for every research paper. Don't think that in literature we don't need methods. This is one serious problem with people who write essays in literature. So what is the difference between an essay in literature, and what is the difference between between essay in literature and an article in literature? You need to really think about it. The methodology segment will be very strong for an article. You need to give the theoretical views. You need to give ample evidence from the text. It's not just like, full of quotes. You can make something. A text that is 3,000 words long, and then full of quotes from here and there, populated with your opinion, some references to that theoretician and some to this theoretician here, and then done. No, that is not how it is. This anatomy should be followed. So now when you look at it, introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusion, this will be even for science stream and for us humanities people, social science researchers. This is the typical pattern for any research articles. So now What does the study do and why is it important will be discussed in the introductory segment. So you need to establish the context of the research, include the gaps in knowledge. So it doesn't mean that you are inventing a new study and your idea is so original. Always it will have some kind of inclination towards something else that somebody else has taught somewhere. So it's important that we read enough and we understand and what is the gap in that existing research. You identify that, and then you need to have some assumptions or hypothesis, a question or a problems to study, and you need to give the rationale and aim of your approach, and then the main content found in the research and discussion. So you will give an overview of the entire thing, entire paper. So when somebody reads your abstract, they get a clear picture about what is there. And in the introduction, not that clear, but still you will hint at several of these things. So it's very important that you write a very tight introduction. And in methods, you will ask, what does it do? What does this study do? How did I do this? How the study was done? What materials and methods of experimentation and analysis were used? These are very important. So people who are studying a text, for example, any text, any literary text, take from Shakespeare. I don't get anybody else in my mind right now. So take from Shakespeare, Hamlet or Macbeth as a political tragedy, whatsoever. You take some particular angle from there, some particular theme from there, and then you need to know how is my methodology different from other studies. It's not that I'm the first one to write about Macbeth. No, I'm not. So how is this particular theme or how is the portrayal of Macbeth as a tragic hero, be it the theme for the time being, is different from other people who have written in the field. So you will read, you will analyze, and then you will have to look at, I'm going to do a phenomenological study, I'm going to do a narrative analysis. You need to find out a suitable method for your study and a theoretical framework for your study. Hamlet is a text that has been studied from several different angles. If you look at it, there is a psychoanalytic angle to it, there is a feminist interpretation to it. There are several aspects possible. Even Huckleberry Finn is a novel that was studied under various, within the theoretical lenses, various theoretical lenses, like there were eco-critical reading of it, putting it, not eco-critical, that is about the white whale, Moby Dick. Yeah, about Huckleberry Finn, there are several readings of feministic, there are several feministic readings and there are psychoanalytic reading. And then about Tempest, there is a post-colonial reading. So how do all these things evolve is something that we need to pose and ask ourselves. How are these people coming up with new ideas? So there is a theory, they understand the theory, they check the applicability of that theory into what they have prepared as or conceptualized as an idea. So how is this theory applicable to this particular topic that I'm going to take, and which is the easiest mode to go with? So how do we know all these things is a question that come to all of our minds. Okay, so there is no other shortcut but to read in that field. If you want to understand a theory and its application in literature or language, you need to go to the theorists who have said that and those people who have applied it in respective fields. Until and unless you do that, you will never be able to. I don't have to use the second person. We will never understand how it could be done and what are the various possibilities in front of us in analyzing the text. So it's very important that we have some clarity about how to go about the text. If you are from the field of ELT, this methodology segment will be a little more, no, I wouldn't say easier, but a little more evident for you, because you have to conduct either an experimental study, like in a quantitative segment, or an experimental study in the, exploratory study in a qualitative paradigm. So there are several methodology that you can follow. just like social science researchers. But when you come to literature, texts, how do you go about this analysis? So you need to read the veterans in the field, people who have published good essays in good journals. You need to read. You need to build that kind of academic network. Network in the sense, it's not like saying good morning and good afternoon every single time to that person, but try to follow them on academia or any other platforms and just get familiarized with their work. When a new work is uploaded, you read it, or when a new work is published, you know about it. So know your field and read the work in that field is very important. It's not easy. You have to go through that hard path. There is no smart work that can be done to get published and get acknowledged, both not at the same time. So now when it comes to the research section, again, ELT people can easily see that it's very evident, but literature, again, you will be talking about your findings once again, synthesizing it and, explaining it. This is what I said. And discussion and conclusion. Discussion is one area that is very difficult to write, actually. I'll give a detailed overview of it, but let's just get an idea about this. It explains what your findings mean and implications to your area. So I have done the study, so what? How is it unrelated to the previous work? How is it related to the work? What are the future significance for this work? How is the knowledge community getting benefited out of it? Now you see, it's very difficult to make tall claims here until and unless you have enough substantiations done when you were analyzing your text. So this is a very dangerous field where most of the journals give you comments on, I get several comments on this discussion session, strengthen your discussion, like that. So it's through experience, it's through writing and then editing, then you getting feedback and rewriting and reading good articles. So that is how we learn this. Now, when we think about the sequence of writing, this is how you start. You write your methods, you write your analysis, and then you write your discussion and conclusion, and then finally you write the introduction. And after everything, you write your abstract. So these questions were asked in the Google form. Some of you, maybe most of you, are familiar with this sequence of writing, because I could see that many of you have 7 publications, 8 publications, where I don't ask, but you have publications. So you have some kind of experience in writing, I understand. So I'm not underestimating, but from the data that I got from you, I thought that it's a good idea, because some PhD scholars are also there. Maybe they'll get benefited. I thought so. This is the sequence of writing, because at the end of it, you will have a great clarity about what you have proposed in this study and what is the finding of your analysis. So with that clarity, if you write introduction, that is going to be the first thing that they will read after abstract. It can generate a good impression in the reader's mind, especially when it is the editorial board or peer reviewer, whoever it is. Now, before you write your paper, you need to think about your argument, research questions, and hypothesis. So some questions to help you with that. What do I seek to find? So I have watched a film, fantastic. Now, so I want to write about it, but what of it? Do I see a feminist angle there? Do I see an eco perspective there? Do I see something else there? Something like a performativity theory there? What is it that comes to my mind? And what do I want to find? What is the big question that comes to me and upsets me a lot when I read this, or when I see this, or when I experience this? Okay, and what is it exactly that I want to find? What are my study's main arguments? You really have to write it down. You really don't think that your brain is so good and it has this photographic memory and it captures everything. We forget. So the moment the idea comes to your mind, you need to really write it down. What is that I want to argue about? And who am I writing for? That's the last thing. Who am I writing for? You need to know your audience, okay? So when I come here, I can simply walk in, but I wanted to know who you are and what could be your profile. Not all the 229, including me, who I can see on the screen, but then a large population, at least a glimpse of the population, I wanted to know. So you look at it. We want to know who we are addressing, and we want to know or we need to know, we must know which journal we should take as a venue for our publication. These are very important decisions which have lot of implications on your career as such, because sometimes when you publish in the wrong journals, it's very difficult to explain, but people who know what I mean know it. Your reputation gets spoiled. There are several cases of plagiarism being reported, retraction happens. There are several things that happen, and the venue of publication is also very important. The legacy of the publisher is also very important. Now you need to organize your data, all those figures, pictures, now everything is so interdisciplinary. I hope it's all like in a disciplined manner, whatever it is. When we talk about interdisciplinarity, even in literature, we have a lot of pictures coming in, sometimes some statistics coming in, photographs coming in. There are several different things. So we need to organize the data first. Once we have clarity about the entire theme, need to collect it, organize it, and keep it ready for analysis. Then we need to write the methods, what are the materials used. And if it is an ELT, this one will fit very clearly. What are the materials? So if it is about literature, you need to think about what are my primary texts? What are my secondary resources? What are the theories that I'm going to use? These will be the method section that will be following. And it will fit into the literature review as well to some extent. The other part, the theoretical part of it. So you need to organize things clearly, and the most important to the least important one. That is how you structure your arguments. So there should be some kind of a coherence over the entire thing that you write, the entire text of your article. There should be some kind of spinning together, some kind of joining together. It should just flow without any flow, which means without any mistakes. It should be just flawless. So now when you write the results or findings, you need to present it properly and give some more kind of, it's better if you answer the research questions as such, because that's one way of nailing this section properly. So you might have asked 2 research questions or 3 research questions in the beginning. So try to answer them in this research section or the findings section. Even the literature papers, you will have some arguments to begin with, and how you have substantiated those arguments, you can explain them more here with the help of theories. So it's not completely like a capsule thing. This presentation is not a capsule for anyone. You have to customize it for your needs. Now, discussion and conclusion, here you need to interpret the results actually. What does it mean? What does the result indicate, or what is this indicating? And you need to actually make sure that you are making a point very clear there, and it is very significant, not for you, but for the entire reading community. And then here, don't say that I have done an excellent work and this is it. No, we need to focus on some limitations, some kind of input for future research, further work. All these things should be part of the discussion session. And always it's a good idea, those who are not aware of it, I'm telling you, to you have some set of findings. You have found that James Cameron has been exploiting the Indianness or Indian philosophy in a different way in his movie Avatar, the part 2 that I'm talking about. And these are the examples. So you have made that make some kind of an assumption, which is very weak. I don't get it in properly phrased words, but then yeah, this is the idea. So you are critiquing James Cameron, and when he's placing a lot of importance on Indianness, actually it's again a counter kind of colonialism or whatsoever you want to say. Or maybe you are saying it the other way around, by focusing on the terms from Indian context. Yeah, he is actually giving a counter revolt to colonization or whatsoever. So when you have some kind of an argument like that, how are you going to sell it? how are you going to sell it is very interesting. You see the market coming in. We are it's inescapable. So how are you going to place this in this discussion session, and how are you going to explain that this is one very significant argument that I have, because it is different from that, this, that, them, and these. So you need to again bring in a bit of literature from here and there and say that those studies have looked at the same film with same theory, but my study is different in these many ways. Think about it. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. And if you can write a good discussion session, you are a master of it, no doubt. Okay. So this will be the elements in that discussion segment of the article, a mini synopsis, and you will be restating the main findings, significance and meaning, comparing the results and the trajectory, strengths and limitations, impact and application of research, and finally suggestions for future work. These will be the this will be the model for a discussion, a strong discussion segment in your paper. And you can customize it in whichever, if you are from computer science background, you might have to do it slightly differently. If you are an ELTN, you have to do it differently. If you are from pure literature, differently. Cultural studies, perhaps differently. So you need to really look at this pattern and see what fits in. But the interpretation, selling the significance is very important, where you have to look at other other research articles which have been written in the same field. Now, I think this can be skipped because most of the things have been told now. Now, writing the introduction, what does the study do and why it is important? You need to establish the context. So don't just start by thinking that the audience know it. What happens is that when we have an idea, we read about it, and then we sit down and write, and we assume that everybody knows about it. No, it happens only in your head. I might not know it. So what you have to actually do is to familiarize the readers with the context that you're working in. So you are looking at some work, and this is how there should be a beautiful story that emerges out of your narrative about your text. Okay, so this is how the entire thing happened. You're not going to state it in first person or third person. That is not, journals differ in their demands. So you writing in any person, that is very different. I'm not talking about whether subjective or objective positioning, but there should be a clear, coherent kind of portrayal of the context. You have to sketch it very clearly, the aims of the study, all these things have to be clearly mentioned in the segment. So when you look at it, you should care about this research. This research is very important. So, yeah, what's already known about the topic? This will be the background, okay? And what's not known about the topic? So many things have been said by other people. So what's not so known about it? That is how you will find the gap. Okay, so I haven't added literature review as a separate segment here, because once we start talking about literature review, this discussion will never end. So I have just clubbed in literature review into this, clubbed this literature review into this segment, introduction. So that is how, what's already known about the topic is nothing but literature review or theoretical review that you will be doing. Why important to learn this new information? You need to rationalize it, and rationalization really takes time. And then finally, the aim of your study in clear statement. Okay, one of my papers has been with a journal, a very prestigious journal, for the past 2 years. Okay, I don't feel ashamed to tell you this because I worked hard for the paper. 2 revisions are over. Still, one reviewer is not very happy with that. So I get it back. I think I'll get it back again, asking for something. So they say that it's all there, but the author doesn't state it clearly. I was thinking, what? I have stated everything is there. Then, I took some time, I took some break. And then after a week, I went back to it. As as a detached person from the text is very difficult. It's my product. It's more like my baby. And then I have to just detach myself from it and read it from the perspective of a third person, asked a lot of questions to myself. And then I found that there were so many things I took for granted. I thought that I have said it. It is there, but it's not stated properly. I have to just state that this study follow XYZ. That XYZ is there in the second sentence, third sentence, and sixth sentence. But what the editor wants is, for clarity, we have to state it in one particular sentence in the beginning of the method section. You look at the clarity that they want. Yeah. So now I won't repeat that mistake. When I write the next article, whatever happens, when it comes to the methodology, I state it right there. That is why I said we all learn from our mistakes, and peer reviews are an excellent way of learning. Yeah, I have been a very ruthless peer reviewer for some time, but later, I even learned how to peer review, because we should not look down at someone. We never know the kind of author that we are dealing with, and the kind of reviews that I've been getting, they're very sharp, but very kind. They don't tell you off for what you have done. Yeah. So don't be disheartened if you are getting reviews which are ruthless. Just take it as a positive thing and look at the analysis. Look at what kind of suggestions they have given and ask why. Why should I? And why have they said that? And why should I change it? And if you are convinced, go ahead and do the changes, make the changes. Now, what is the problem? These things are also discussed actually. So we need some more time about the composing of it. You need to provide a concise and accurate review of the entire published work, background information, key terms used in the paper. This is very important. We all work in some field and we are good at it, okay? And we know that they all know about it. So don't have such kind of preconceived notions about what others know. We need to state the key terms. It's not just giving the keywords. For example, I work with SDGs. Now, not all of you might be quickly getting what is an SDG. That is pretty popular. Everybody knows it. But when you read it at once, it may not just get into your brain quite quickly. So I have to write Sustainable Development Goals and in bracket SDG. Or ESP. ESP, for people who are teaching ESP or very much into ELT, it is fine. But not for other people who are from humanities field or who are from a related field, maybe even from literature, might not know that. Do you get it? So we need to state certain things very clearly. And overall view of primary research literature, published articles with citation, or this is just just an overview. Don't think that you can populate everything into it. Some journals ask for a separate literature review segment as well. So it depends on the journal that you are giving it to. And for better clarity, you can even divide introduction to introduction and literature review. But it's always better to get a clear trajectory of thought, a trail of thought. I would say that, this is the background, these are the questions, this is my aim, and how did this aim reach? I surveyed so much literature, and there was some problem that was not, some problems which were not addressed. Therefore, I try to address 1-2 questions, and therefore, this is my aim. So that kind of a clear, coherent line of thought should be there. What is your study going to do? The purpose of the study. See, this one was one example that I gave you right now, stating it very clearly. You don't have to beat around the bushes. You don't have to just say it in a covered manner or in a subtle way. No, state it very clearly, because you're not playing, you're not writing creative literature. You're not writing poems or short stories or anything. You're talking about we are talking about academic writing or research writing. So it has to be pretty objective even when your subjective emotions are being discussed. So the purpose of this study was the objective of the study is we investigated 2 possible mechanisms to explain the whatsoever, right? This is how you need to really phrase it. The statement of purpose should be very much there, which is lacking in several of our papers, to be very frank. Now there is this abstract writing. After you finish everything, the reader first reads your abstract, but you write it at the end. After everything, you write the abstract. So for that, you need to reread your paper and condense each section into 2 sentences. Abstract writing is a skill. Okay, and ensure that these statements cover the major points and all segments of the abstract are filled in with adequate information. So you have to go for the creamy sentences of everything, statements of every single section, and it should be a mini kind of your paper, mini paper of yours. Then check word limit and make sure that it is rewritten properly, and edit and check the flow of thoughts. This is very important. Even for the paper, we need to ensure that there is coherence. One idea leads to the other. So I tell my students that you need to do 2 types of proofreading. One for the language errors, which is very easy. Anybody who knows English can do that. But the other one is very different, because you need to go for proofreading of ideas, proofreading in quotes, because there should be cohesion. One idea should lead to the other one. There should be some kind of signposting devices. There should be some kind of connectors. You need to make sure that one sentence is related to the other, one paragraph is related to the other, and there is kind of an internal relationship between every single segment of your argument plus your writing. It's very important, and it is absolutely challenging. It's not easy. Now, the components of a good scientific abstract. Scientific doesn't refer only to the computer science or civil engineering or any other, physics, chemistry background, but it just means that a proper objective formal abstract. The context and the topic should be clear. Research problem or question should be stated. What is already known about the problem should be stated in a nutshell, and then the rationale for the research. It is stated, but then there is some problem, right? So methods should be discussed. Using this method or using this theoretical framework, I'll be trying to look at whatsoever. And findings and results, its implications. This is very significant, because that is where we sell our work, right? We say that the study is very significant because of these reasons, but it is not perfect. There are certain things that can be done. That is limitation. So implications will have a tint of that as well. Now, this is the most interesting question. Where should we publish? Yeah. So now you look at it, I'm not offering you any drinks, but then you have such kind of journals, cloned journals, counterfeit mirror ones of all these authentic journals. Sometimes recently I have spotted one out and reported it to the UGC care, because it gives a very, cheeky kind of similarity between the logo and between the actual website of the journal, the good journal and the bad journal. We talk about good and bad. Now, work on good Scopus SCI index journals list. This is something that you have to do. Don't trust me or don't trust anybody else on this, because it's just very personal. Who is more interested in your life than you yourself? Think about it. So don't go for a capsule check, capsule list, or just don't check for a comprehensive list that somebody is giving. I'm there in several groups. Some of you might also be there, and you might have seen this type of messages. Is it a so-and-so journal? Is it listed there? And you can just find it out, right? Internet is there. Think about people who published in really good journals when internet was not there. They used to write it as, the proper manuscript, and then take it to the post office, post it, fax it. There were several things that they used to do. We don't have to do that. So invest some considerable amount of time from your official and personal work, balance it, and then use that to find which is a suitable Scopus journal for you. And if you feel like sharing it with others, you are pretty welcome to share it. But then it again is like an intellectual property. Some people do not want to share it. But it's not about, you asking and you not being able, you trying and not being able to find it. Several of us do not even bother to find what is Scopus, what is SCI, what is UGC care. We really don't care about all this. So it's our responsibility to identify it, but then I won't violate your expectations. I'll spoon feed a bit. Avoid predatory journals. Well, I can preach, right? Avoid predatory journals, identify them and be alerted. To escape from clone journals and predatory journal, these are the things, they just pretentious journals. And there are several ways to identify these types of spurious journals. Be alerted when you see a high impact factor, 4.57, 5.79 kind of impact factors, which is impossible. Good journals will not have that great, good journals in the sense, it's very difficult to get that kind of impact factor for any journal. So if you see somebody claiming 4.3, the metrics is totally different is what you need to understand. And there are several people who put on Facebook that I have published in this particular journal with this much impact factor. And when I go and check, it is not even a credible journal and it's a paid publication. And there are so many fraudulence that is happening. So we need to be sure about our credibility, our image as an academic, our image as a person when we deal with these things. Choose journals based on the editorial board. I always go and look at the editorial board. Who are the editors? Where are they from? What kind of work do they do? So when we are thinking about certain fields, there are some people who are who are big shots in that field. So we should know that, if we see that name, for example, I work in ELT and I'm going to publish in one particular journal, and I see in the editorial board Noam Chomsky, right? And there are several other people who are quite like very, very famous in the field. Then why should I worry about it? When normally journals will not put names without acknowledgement, but recently there has been a case where it was reported that without somebody's permission, a particular journal had been putting them on the editorial panel. That also happens. But when you usually read the editorial board members' names, you will be able to understand whether this is a good journal or a bad journal. Your basic minimum language skills and common sense is enough for identifying whether it's a good journal or bad journal. You can clearly get that. And don't choose it if the research credentials of the editorial board is very suspicious. Don't do that. Check the publication timeline and peer review process. Sometimes they'll say that 3 issues per year or maybe 4 issues per year. And then they'll say that, but if you go through the fast track, we will publish it quickly. Then be doubtful about it. Look at the peer review process. Without even proper peer review, if they can promise that they'll publish your work, there can be a danger. Okay, and now the metrics, they have their own kind of Internet of Things to find out the journal management stuff, Scopus and other database. They will also go for some kind of quality check. And there are several journals which are deleted from the list, which have lost their, enlisting in the Scopus and the UGC care. So read a few issues of the journal. This is something that we shouldn't, escape at all. Read a few issues of that particular journal where you want to publish your work. And understand how it is structured, how the articles are structured, and what are the types of articles that you have as options. Sometimes they'll say that research article up to 8,000 words and research briefs which are between 2000 to 3000, book reviews 1000, and reflections, personal reflections, personal narratives, poems, stories. There are several segments, interviews, film reviews, cultural review. I mean, there are several types of art review. There are several types of articles or contributions that you can make. So you need to make sure that you read a few issues of the journal and then decide whether that fits your purpose or not. And avoid institutional or society publications with in-house editorial board. And if more than 60% of the articles published either by the editorial board members or in-house researchers or faculty members, you have to be very suspicious about. See, for example, I start a journal and I publish in it 2 articles by me and 2 articles by another editorial board member and 1 article by another person, and majority of it, if there are 20 articles, almost like 15, not 15, but then 10, 11, 12 articles are from the editorial board. Open your eyes, you will see such journals. So then you have to really drop that idea of, because it's kind of an inbreeding that is happening there. It doesn't assure the quality research generally. So don't take that as a venue for publication. And now authoring and co-authoring, when you think about it, there are 2 types of authorship. The first one is, you author it like single authored publications, which means you are the sole person who conceived the idea, conceptualized it, practically implemented it, wrote it, communicated the paper, then reviewed it, revised it, sent it back, and you are the only person who is responsible for the entire research that happened in that field. Then you are the single author. And you can be a co-author when there is some kind of substantial division of work. So sometimes what happens in universities is that the student writes a paper and the teacher takes the credit, okay, which is not good, which is actually an academic crime. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. So yeah, it is an academic crime. We cannot take the credit of somebody else's work until and unless we did some substantial amount of work in that. It can be in the editing stage, it can be in the conceptualization stage, or it can be in data collection and analysis, it can be in the writing stage, it can be the editing, revising, wherever if you have contributed significantly, and if the other person also agrees, yes, that is co-authoring. Otherwise, there are 2 types, okay? Ghost authorship and gift authorship. Several of our universities or institutions, there are people who go for this gift authorship, yeah, or guest authorship. They don't do anything, but their names have to be there tagged along with the research scholar's name. So, it happens. And ghost authorship is when somebody who substantially contributed to the study is left out from the list. They don't care about it. Such incidents also happen. And sometimes, students or people being scared of fighting with the other person, because if that has to happen, somebody powerful will be there in that list, right? So being scared of their own existence, several times people just let it go and then go and work on another paper. So ghost authorship and gift authorship are something that is pretty tricky, are something that are very, very tricky. You shouldn't fall victim to any of them. And to say no to gift authorship, you need to be very confident in yourself, and you need to say that, yes, I help them, or I help my colleague, and then we write a paper together. But until and unless, I contribute, I'm not going to take any credits of that. It takes a lot of courage to say that, especially when you have this, the sword of Damocles, just above your head in the form of your appraisal and your promotion and everything else. Yeah, sites that a researcher should visit. You should go for UGC Consortium of Academic and Research Ethics, which we are familiar as CARE, UGC CARE. So Consortium of Academic and Research Ethics. This is it's situated in Savitribai Phule University. So you can go to the site, you can file grievances, you can voice your concerns there. You can also find out a list of journals in your field. And then Scopus is another database where good publications are there, and several of the Scopus index journals are part of UGC Care as well. So you need to visit these journals. See, I don't have to open that page and then show it to you saying that yeah, this is it and this is the tab where you have to go. I mean, none of us are kids. Okay, so please make sure that you visit these sites and know that these are the journals which are enlisted for the time being, and there are several journals which are being taken out. So you need to be very watchful about their status. You need to keep on checking it, because today you have published something in a UGC Care listed journal, and then your colleague published, and then 2 months later you try to publish in that thinking that it is UGC Care listed one, but maybe some grievances were filed and it got out of the journal. So before you send the article, you need to ensure that it is within the list, it is enlisted. And then journal rankings, you can go to this SIMAGO website where they have given it in subject-wise and country-wise form. I'll just take you to that form. And then there are sources to identify journals. This was something that you people have asked me, think, check, submit. So if you go to this platform, you will be able to answer a lot of questions, and then you can find out, find it out yourself. And then journal finder, interesting. If you have an abstract, ready, I mean, you should have when you are checking for a journal or some kind of an idea, you can just write it in abstract with the major key words in, and then go to journal finder and then check it. They'll give you some kind of suggestions. But don't trust everything just like that. Go and check if it is enlisted in the Scopus journals. So when you look at Scopus journals, it will give you an Excel sheet. So you can actually filter it and find out whichever comes into your field of study. It's not difficult, you have to do it. So these are the databases for humanities and social sciences journals, several of them. So largely we go for Scopus, Web of Science, and the first ones in the thing. And now we have got a UGC Care listed one, Care list as well, to as an indexing kind of thing. Yeah, now if you want to read more on ethics, I haven't touched plagiarism, because plagiarism is something that we all talk about and we teach our students not to do that. So I didn't check plagiarism, or I didn't not check plagiarism, but I didn't discuss plagiarism purposefully because plenty of things were there, and I have already crossed my time. So when you read about this, you will understand, but most of them we have discussed on these ghost authorship, guest authorship, and all sorts of things. So now it's our call. I hope, now you are able to answer these questions, how to identify if a journal is predatory or not, go through the index factor, go through the claims that they make, go through the editorial board, you will understand how important is it to publish in a UGC Care list or Scopus journals. Generally, we believe that, these two databases, they will include good journals, because there is a meticulous peer review process for these journals as well. So journals are sent for peer reviews, and based on peer review report from experts of that particular field, they'll enlist it. And then, in intermediary kind of qualitative check also will be there for these journals. So it is important now, it is mandatory that we have to publish, but I heard that some kind of changes were there suggested by by UGC, that any peer reviewed journals are also okay, but then it's best to go with a UGC Care list one and or a Scopus indexed one. Are there journals where you can publish without paying? There are several journals where you can publish without paying. What you have to do is to, so where can we get a list of these journals? Please do some basic research on this. Scopus journals you take a look at, filter it, and then get the list, maybe hundreds of journals in literature. You take it, and then you look at which ones are suitable for you, and then go for a clear reading of that particular website, and you will see that they'll charge article processing fees. Some journals will say that we will publish if you pay this much. That is not a good practice, and there are several journals which do not take any money at all, and obviously it will take maybe years. You look at my case, 2 years now, so will take time. So you need to just go and generate that list on your own, because it will be changing. There's no static list that is available about paid and unpaid journals. How write an article, I have discussed that. How to be able to increase my citation score and H index. Very interesting question. You need to be discovered. Your work needs to be discovered, and maybe you have to publish in the sense you have to share the link, and you have to upload it somewhere where people can read. And if your work is significant in the field, it will get cited, and therefore you will get a good H index. And now people who have doubts about citation score and H index, please read Google. That's fine. How to publish in Scopus for PhD, how to identify which is Scopus journal, we have already answered. And my talks, the entire thing, this was based on a few people, discussions, the talks that I have had or listened to, and then some articles that I have read, and then my experiences. To be very frank, my experiences, bitter and greater, expeditions and hard work. So this is first-hand information. I went through a lot of, I too paid and published. And I regret, because what I published was very good, and now I can't, it's there in the internet. I can't just take it back. I can't publish it elsewhere. So it's really a pain. I had good substance in that paper, but I never knew about all these things. Therefore, I just paid and published, because we had some pressure from that time wherever I was working. We had some pressure to publish. So just like several of you, I too did that. So I learned from my experiences. I learned from the adventures that I had, and of course from my hard work. Right. So I wish you all the best, and thank you very much. I'll share some links. I'll share once again. Somebody has raised a hand. Meanwhile, I do this, you can actually ask questions or whatsoever. The moderator can step in now. I'm done. Thank you very much. This is my last slide. Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Good evening, ma'am. I have a question. Actually, it's not related to research ethics, but as you are a part of humanities, I have this question to you. So nowadays, research. I'm new to research. Just now, I have enrolled in my PhD. Researchers usually incorporate literary theories. It may be a film or a text or whatever it is. But actually, it's looking like we are putting another lens to see it. Actually, if you are reading a novel which has characters affected by psychological disease, what the researcher is doing is this type of theory. We actually get to know this by reading. Why to put another lens to that? I just want to know, or how to actually, if it is okay, how to actually incorporate, what is the appropriate way of using theories in literature, whether it is film or anything, an eco-critical reading of this or that, and aspect like that.
Right. Narmada, thank you so much for the question. And Narmada, which year of PhD are you in?
Ma'am, just now, ma'am, it's been 1 month since I have enrolled.
Absolutely, darling. This question could only come from a person who has just joined PhD. You will get corrupted after 2 years. I mean, in the sense, I'm not saying that the institute or the environment will corrupt you, but we will become more practical, and we will realize that, the world goes this way, therefore I have to go this way as well. But excellent question, because this is a very fundamental question that we need to ask. That is where I said the newness of your research. What is so new about my research is something that you need to focus on in your work. Really, because people have talked about it through that lens, through this lens, but you look at it, several studies on Hamlet is still happening. Several times of, several versions of Macbeth, or, there are several studies of the same text happening. How is it happening? And every single time when we look at it, a new theory emerges. So now I gave you the example of hyperfeminism because I was reading something in that and I was trying to theorize something. So when I looked at it, the same text, which was like looked at from a mythical angle or mythological perspective, now takes a very different kind of phenomena, and I'm connecting it with morbidity. There is nature being very powerful, which connects the human with water, and then how this entire discourse of power politics happens there. So that is my idea. Okay, this idea might have been discussed elsewhere in several different forms, but not the way I have theorized it. So when you are focusing in literature, what is the output of my study is something that is going to really haunt you, Narmada. But just try to be so strong in your theory reading. Read all the theories, and if possible, philosophy as well. Read the theories and look at your text and see if you can come up with a new idea, and that will be your contribution, and that will make you feel quite happy about it. Otherwise, there is no point in holding the same lens and looking at it. Why not a new perspective on something? If you look at it, the political correctness, it has undergone a lot of changes these days. Yeah, I'm getting distracted by the messages. Just 1 second. I'll just close it. Yeah. So, Narmada, what I was trying to say is that when you are looking at the output of your research, if you can see that you're producing something that did not exist as an idea elsewhere. We are not making any machines, right? We are actually playing with minds. We are playing with texts which have some kind of wisdom or some kind of knowledge embedded within. So ideas, basically, humanities is about ideas, right? So when we are looking at it, and if you can generate a new idea, bingo, good, you're good to go with that, because research is not always laboratory basis. There are several such researchers which made even with vaccine or any other advancements possible. But being humanities researchers, we are looking at ideas. So if you can generate a new ideas through whichever lens, the lens is not important, the output is important. And output, if it is a novel one, then good to go with that. Yeah, I hope you answered, and I hope you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm really convinced with this answer. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Bye. Somebody else, Dr. Murali, I can see your hand being raised.
Ma'am, before Sir starts, I would like to inform participants that the session was planned a little differently. We planned to have Karthika ma'am on day 2. But then due to certain circumstances, we had to shift both the sessions in day 1. So the feedback form day 2 is for second session participants. Please do not be confused about it. Now the session is free for asking questions. It's open.
Yeah. Someone wanted to ask something.
Dr. Murali can respond.
Okay, if he's taking time, then I'll just show you this Saimago. It is pronounced as Skimago, Skymago, Simago, Saimago. So whichever way I say it as Saimago. So if you want to just try higher education, let's see if we get any results. Yeah, studies in higher education, internet and higher education, journal of higher education, research in higher education. You look at it, it goes like that. Okay, so let's just click here and see what it is. So it can be taken, you can be taken to the home page if you click here. Yeah, I'll just open in another tab, and then there is some other information that you need. You look at this. There is color coding. This green signifies or stands for Q1 journal, that is quartile 1, which are the best in the field. And then the yellow goes for Q2, and there is orange color which goes for Q3 journal, and finally red for Q4 journal. So Q1 journals are very difficult to be published in, and there are several journals which are dubious in that as well. So you need to be careful when you check it. Always go to the site and cross-check. So this is that particular journal which we checked the quartile, and it is Q1. So you need to read some articles from there. Sometimes, you know, they may not give access to all of them, but they will have something called open access article. So if you click on open access article, they'll give you some articles which are free to be read. So you can read them and be familiarized with the pattern of the journal. And then about this journal, if you go there, you can see the editorial board. Who are the editorial members? You can check their credentials by just doing another search. So if you're happy with that, and if you think your theme fits in, you can go for this. Okay. So now let's just look at one from literature. Let me see if something comes up. Well, that is like maybe literary studies. Journal of Literary Studies, Australian Literary Studies, Studies in Literary Imagination, Scottish Review. You look at the wealth of it, you get quite a lot of, I mean, this is one shortcut. You can download the thing from Scopus, directly from Scopus. I prefer to do that. So this is one easy way to go. And then there'll be similar journals, which I forgot to show you. So if we click here, you will get, this is an open access journal. See, look at it. You look at the symbol, it's an open access journal. And when you come here, you can see the quartile. Yeah, this is very colorful, isn't it? It started in 1999 as a Q41, moved in 2002 as Q2, and in 3 it was Q1, then something happened, Q4, Q3, Q3, Q4, and now it is Q3. Yeah, up to 2021 it shows. So you need to really check, and you look at it. These are journals which are similar to it, and the similarity index is also given here. English Studies in Africa, Journal of South African Studies, Research in African Literatures, College Literature, Forum for World Literature Studies, all these things. So you can be, I mean, these things you can just check. Q3, SJR 0.11, all these information is available on this one. And the other one that I wanted to let you know was this, right? If you have an abstract, I have just copied something here for, this is something that I wrote in the field of art and history. Let's see what result it gives. So you have to just place the abstract here and then find the journal. So it gives a lot of information. So I said it's a little political and historical kind of thing. So I'm getting suggestions like this. Yeah. So don't be overwhelmed by this. You have to go and visit the actual journal site and then see Women's Studies International Forum. So you can just check its credibility by putting it here in Saimago. Now let's see what happens. I'm sorry, I'm taking time, but I thought I'll just, yeah, it is enlisted in Scopus. True. So now let's go find, yes, you look at, these are the segments in that particular journal, and Gender Studies is a new one, and which is Q2. Yeah, this is news to me as well, because I didn't know that such a journal exists. So yes, this is one venue for people who are publishing in gender studies, education. There are several things that you can see here. So this is how we can find journals. Yeah, I hope this one was, yeah, this segment made sense. I'm just stopping sharing. Yes, questions or responses?
Yeah, anyone else who's willing to ask my question?
Yeah.
Madam?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disturb, madam. Actually, I did my research on feminism between British and Indian English fiction. But the problem when we wrote a paper in the Scoopers, somehow they said our readings and our statements are very unconnected to the things that is happening there in other European countries, and they said it is very difficult to accept your paper.
What was the theme again?
Comparative study between Doris Lessing and Nayanthara Sehgal's fiction, madam.
And this was a feminist reading?
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
Yeah, so you can check for several other venues actually. There are several gender studies journals and women's studies journals. So use Scimago or use Scopus list to find out which journal. Several publications are from India as well. See, for example, Indian Journal of Gender Studies is something that you can look at and see whether they accept it. And if they don't accept it there also, you need to change the methodology. You need to replan your article, but you can check these journals, which I mean, this Indian Journal of Gender Studies is also a very good journal actually, Sage Publications. So you can check that. And when you give that in Scimago, it will give other suggestions as well, Dr. Sarah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I'm Dr. K.V. Lakshmi from Hyderabad. Ma'am, how can I check my published articles in Google Scholar, ma'am? Can you suggest me any ways?
How can you?
How can I find my published articles, madam, in Google Scholar? Somebody told me that if I find my articles in Google Scholar, then only those are authenticative. Else, those are not authenticative. Actually, my knowledge, I am at the basic level in publishing articles. Can you suggest any ways, ma'am? How can I find my articles, published articles in Google Scholar?
See, if your article is published and it is published with a good publisher, it should come in scholar.google. Otherwise, you need to go for some indexing bit. Just, you know what I do? I'll just tell you to go and first read about what is Google Scholar and then proceed accordingly. See, I'm not being, I'm not evading your question, but this is something that everybody should do. Just read about what is Google Scholar and how is it different from other platforms and what is this indexing or associating or whatsoever, in whichever terms you want to understand, and see how your work can be discovered there. Just check that out. I would suggest that. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
One hand is raised here. Yasin.
Yeah, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Could you tell me the name of some good theory books?
Come on. How do I tell you about some good theory books? There are plenty of them, right? Which theory would you like to know about? You need to really be into that researcher mode actually. Nobody can tell you which is the best theory book, because something that I like might not be your best theory. So this best itself is very relative. So if I give you a list of books, then what fun is there? So please, what theory? See, if you are reading in post-humanism, go through Google Scholar and then find out which are the prominent articles that come there. And then what I usually tell my students is to just look at the references segment and find out several articles in that particular thing. See, for example, post-humanism. You are reading 5 articles. I mean, you are downloading 5 articles, and 5 articles will have 5 references sections. Like each one has 1. So when you look at the references segment, most recurring work, which is the most seminal work that are being cited by these 5 people, that will become a very solid kind of text for you. So similarly, you need to generate a bibliography for yourself. I cannot tell you that this particular text is really great because, you know, Bill Ashcroft is good for me and Spivak is good for me. Pramod Ganaier is fine for me. There are several theorists who are good, or several researchers who have published very good articles and good books. So how do I tell you that this is the best? It's not possible for me to say. It's something that you need to find out. I hope you will do that. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are very clear.
Ma'am, there are some journal I found that sometimes they are suppose they were in UGC care listed, but sometimes they are in the next issue or even after some issues, they are not part of the UGC care listed journal. But those students who published that when it was UGC care listed, and after that it was not part of UGC care listed. So those students who published their article when it was care listed, so their journal would be valid?
Yes, it is. Even in Scopus, it happens. So when we have a Scopus profile and we publish in Scopus, it gets added to our Scopus profile. And maybe some months later, that journal is taken out of the list. Still, we get at that point of time when we published, it was enlisted. So don't worry about that. The problem is that sometimes people will think that, okay, my friend published last month in this particular journal and it is it is Scopus indexed or it is UGC care listed. So I will also publish in that. But at that point of time, we need to cross check whether that is enlisted. Otherwise, it will not be. So the time when we publish, if it is enlisted in Scopus, it's fine. Sometimes, you know, the review process when you are applying for promotions or when you are applying for jobs, it will be very rigorous. People will check whether you have credible publications and these journals that you have mentioned are there in UGC care or not. People will check. So at that point of time, when you have published in 2012, that particular journal was UGC care listed or Scopus, perfect, fine. Now it is no longer, that doesn't really matter.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Lavanya.
Good evening, Karthika. It's great to listen to you and very clearly put all the problems that scholars and faculty also who go for promotions. And in continuation to the earlier question from another lady, I think Sarah was it. The problem when we go for Scopus publications, particularly which is the demand, because every institute wants to go for NAC, every institute wants to get the best score in NIRF. That's the pressure that especially the private institutions pressurize faculty to publish. Now, my problem is when it comes to English ELT, your area, there are plenty of journals that are available in Scopus. Yeah, relatively. Again, my problem there also is nowadays is it with IoT, is it with digital humanities, all that is, it's not the traditional kind of work that is there. But when it comes to literature, the same problem recurrently has been happening. Where they say these theories, we cannot fit in these theories, especially when I'm looking at Indian writing. And I was trying to publish work related to Indian writing, where I was saying the Western feminist theories are not apt for Indian writing, Indian women writing. Found that there were no takers. I have to fit into their the aim and scope as it states into that. That I found is a big hurdle when it comes to,
Well,
like you said.
hurdles are always there, right? We will face that, but then it doesn't mean that one particular journal says that no, this cannot be published here. It doesn't mean that there is no venue. We have to continuously search, and this time I know what you're saying is very valid because we are always under the pressure of publishing and getting credits or whatsoever. So it's really difficult to manage that time that they are taking. Like sometimes it will be the first response itself will come after 6 months. of waiting. So that waiting time itself is very challenging, but it doesn't mean that you don't have any venues for presenting your work. You will have. It's just about how meticulously you search and you find out, and then sometimes minor kind of tweaking is required. So that is where I said you need to really understand why they are saying that this cannot be incorporated here. And if you know, when you ask the question why not, and then you find an intermediary kind of answer, when you find that yeah, there is some sense in what they say, yes, you have to rethink your methodology, or you know, the entire structure of the paper, and reconceptualize it and write it again. This happened with me because I work with you know, I said sustainable development goals, and then when I send the papers, they'll say that there is a slim content of ELT. So this cannot be accepted here. When I send, so ELT-based journals will not accept it. And when I send it to the education-based, they'll say that education-based journals it should be sent to. So when I send it to them, they say that this is not the kind of journals that we actually, I mean, this is not the kind of work that we usually do. So you are like in an in-between kind of world, but it doesn't stop me there. After 3-4 such kind of rejections, I found a suitable journal, and it is under review. So that verve to find out, that enthusiasm to find out another journal and submit our work, or maybe restructure our work. This restructuring also happened recently. 3 times a paper got rejected. Then I was thinking, what was wrong with the paper? So then I identified that nobody gives any review. They just say that we cannot because of the time pressure. Yeah. So I had to really look at it, and over the 6 months or 9 months time, I too learned, or I too have evolved. We all evolve continuously. So I had to rewrite the entire thing. You won't believe a 4,000 worded paper now is under review, and it is 7,000 words. So it's not about adding words. It's about adding concepts. It's about adding theoretical framework. We need to sometimes modify that. But there is opportunity everywhere. So plenty of venues are there for publication, but we have to be really switched on. And
as you said, it took me 3 years to publish one article, if you're doing it the way you said. And it was neither in women, feminist studies or literary studies. It was about psychological behavior. In that they accepted. So, but it took me 3 years to do that. But expecting the youngsters to do it, it takes quite a lot of time.
It will take a lot of time for our research scholars to get published. And some of them really like are switched on, very good in locating those journals. Corresponding.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we come to the end of the session for today, and I must say, Dr. Karthika, this was very informative and very well put together presentation, I must say. I'm sure all of the participants were benefited. We thank you, and we would love to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Sure, thank you so much. So may I leave now?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you so much. I'm just trying to exit.
Thank you, Karthika ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Raghu, for having me invited.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, here.
I guess all the participants found the feedback links for both sessions in the chat box.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Yeah, please note that filling the feedback form is mandatory for each and every session.
But the feedback form is showing that it is for 28th, no, ma'am?
Ma'am, as I made it clear, we had different arrangement to when we're planning the session. So, both the feedback forms that are shared, day one is for the first session, and the one that says 28th of November, that is day 2, is for the second session. I hope you got me. Please fill both the forms today. Day 1 refers to first session, day 2 refers to the second one.
Ma'am, I filled the forms. Can I leave the meeting?
Yeah, those who are done with filling the feedback forms can happily leave the meeting. Good night, everyone. I hope you all learned something.
Yeah, ma'am. We enjoyed a lot, ma'am. Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Thank you. Raghu sir, can I close it? Can I end it here?
Ma'am, we just need to check, I think Jamal's feedback form.
So pardon?
Yeah. Have we shared the same, ma'am? Because
I shared whatever you shared. The same I posted in the WhatsApp.
I tried to share when the session was coming to an end, but then I was not able to. Then I guess Ritika ma'am shared and
yeah,
got access to
and I
it.
mentioned days and sessions particularly.
The day is not mentioned.
Yeah, if you scroll up, it is, ma'am. You would need to scroll up a little.
could you please check the last one, ma'am, which I have shared just now?
Give me a moment, sir. I would.
With
I'll
me,
just check.
sir, or with Ritika ma'am?
Day 1. Okay.
I hope you got it, ma'am, right?
Yeah, day 1, session 2.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The name is clearly stated, Dr. Kartika.
Yeah, it's clearly mentioned in the
Yes,
form.
yes.
Even session.
Yeah.
I posted in the FTP group, sir.
Ma'am?
Should I post it in the FTP group? Because I think some of them got the wrong.
Link also, because when the Jamal's link is opening there.
Yeah. Should I post it in the FTP
But
group,
for
sir?
me, sir, the right links are opening. So I don't think everybody attended the one who registered. So
We'll do that. We will post it in FTP group, ma'am. I mean, WhatsApp group will do that.
Yeah. So I've posted the link, sir, for Dr. Kartika.
Yes, ma'am.
Raghu sir, can I end the session now?
Yes, ma'am. You can do that.
Okay, then everyone, good night.
How many are there, ma'am? Participants?
T6 and they are leaving one by one. It has come down to 55 now, I guess.
Because we have shared the link just now.
But most of them have already left, so it's already 54 now, 53. It's coming down every second.
Okay, ma'am. Then we'll do that. We'll close it here.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.